Welcome to the Modern Way podcast, where we show you how to build a business and navigate the modern economy to build a life worth living. All right, welcome back to the podcast, guys. In today's episode, we're going to cover something that I think is really overlooked, especially if you are a personal brand, an entrepreneur, or someone that is just really a go-getter, really about revenue, really about growth, and that's building a community on the back end of your business. And when I first got started, I kind of looked against that. Like I looked away from it. I didn't really think that that was the most important thing because I was so focused on ads and on marketing and on the front end of the business. But the community is actually what allows you to not only double down on what you're doing on the front end because you have a great, strong, raving community to welcome those new people coming in, but you also can then tap in as a power base and multiply your growth with that invisible hand. And Los has done a great job at building communities. And so I wanted him to share some insights on what he's done to build some great communities, along with, again, the high ticket products or info products or really any service-based business. If you don't have that community, then you're really dependent on paid ads and you don't want to only be reliant on that as a channel. So Los, can you tell us some insights on what's allowed you to be great at building a community and why, first off, why people freaking love you in regards to the community? How did you create that proximity effect where people felt, even if you were busy, that you were actually able to give them the support and things that they needed to help them continue to grow?
I think that's just who I am. I don't want to make that a cop out, but like I really give a shit about people and you can like feel it. I'm also like, this is good and bad. I'm extremely direct, right? And so I come with direct approaches, but you can feel it in the bad side, but in the good side, like I'm extremely direct with answers and supporting and helping. And so that helps a ton. I think the big thing about community is if you want to build a business, you have to have community. No one's going to just buy off a click or a quick Insta thing. They want to know, like, and trust people. And so you have to have something that's community, whether it's a phone number with the app community, whether it's Facebook groups, whether it's Slack groups or Discords, your newsletter, it doesn't really matter. People are trying to follow you because they're trying to see if there's a connection or if there's a bigger connection with you. And so they're going to buy from somebody. They're going to buy from the person that they relate to the most, but they're also going to buy because they're in a safe space. So we've done communities all the way up to like women's hygiene products, right? And health and gut problems and service. It doesn't really matter. The thing that matters is consistency of content and value, right? And that's not just posting. It's delivering value in ways that make people feel connected. If I just posted in a community twice a day, then no one would care. But if you're posting memes and you're posting like like things that are like make me feel connected to you, right? They create a relationship. Then you kind of start feeling like this is your friend group. Everybody's hiding in communities, if you think about it, right? Like Facebook used to be primarily just to drive ads. You don't go to Facebook to look at ads or look at people's feeds. You go to Facebook to log into your groups. That's the truth. Everyone's now moved into Instagram. And if you think about it on Snapchat's micro communities, right? It's like 4 or 5 people that keep secrets and show my closest friends, basically what Instagram wanted to do with closest friends. I'm like, this is my like video group chat thing that I send stuff that I'm doing. You know, Slack is a community for entrepreneurs. Community is everywhere. Everybody wants to be a part of the community and they'll stick to it like as much as they can if you're a good leader. And by good leader, you have to add value. You have to bring people up. You have to show success and you have to create opportunities where people can connect. That's not just value driven inside of like, look at me, I'm smart, but in ways that are supportive and supporting and bringing people up together.
That is a really good point that you just said, is bringing people up and together, not just the tactic of posting, saying, hey, this is what we did, client win, boom. Like, how does that apply to them? And
yeah, you can have a group and you can have a community. The difference between a group and a community is fucking effort and emotional intelligence. That's it. Like, what effort am I putting into this? If you're just doing task work, like button clicking, then that's a group. If you're being emotionally intelligent and connecting and creating camaraderie in a relationship, then and being vulnerable, then people will tie into that community and accept it and want it. Everybody wants to be a part of something. And so it's just your job to make sure that what they want to be a part of is something they don't want to leave.
Definitely, man. Definitely. So emotional development is obviously on the entrepreneur, on the leader, or a community manager that maybe is just better at that than that leading.
And 90% of the time, it might be a community manager because you're going to think that it's a task and it doesn't make sense for you. But that doesn't mean that you can't have your imprint with videos and content and lives and stuff like that.
That's where I was just about to ask you is what's the leverage point for those people that maybe, you know, aren't as in tune with that side. And I'll say that that's probably not my biggest strong set of doing the community side. But I do understand, again, the emotional intelligence side. So we do leave videos and all that kind of stuff. And I do have that. So what's kind of the highest leverage for those entrepreneurs that, even if it's a service-based business, like your local tax accountant or your local service provider, or, you know, someone that's doing a pretty big undertaking with a done-for-you service, like what do you think are the things that they can start to think about so that way that they can start to apply that from the value from the podcast here?
I think the reason I can scale communities really fast is because I do things that are unscalable. And that means I'll do calls with you when calls cost $1,000. I'll bring people down for free or for whatever when I'm not supposed to. I'll stay an hour on a conversation when I'm hard to find or whatever the case. Like I do that. So people, that's where I build trust. And I was like, yo, that motherfucker loves me. He's there for me. He shows up. And so when people see that, a lot of people are like, I don't have time for that. Like, then you don't have time to make money, bro, because you do have time for that. You're probably working a real true 4 hours a day. Other than that, you're thinking and you're kind of like, you know, solving fires. You have time to give a shit about a few people that will say something about you to a few more people that will bring those people back into this community.
That's awesome. That's fire. So guys, look, if you guys are listening to this and you aren't subscribed to the podcast, you gotta be subscribed to hear some more fire just like this, man. That was some really awesome bombs that you just dropped there. So be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast, guys. We will see you in the next one. Peace out.